From the ashes of the old world, in the shadows of the last great war, the world was shattered by magic. Plains became deserts, mountains crumbled into the sea. Witches and heretics are burned in the street, lined with oathbreakers hung by their necks. Where once was law, order, empire, now only hardship and savagery remain. To the east, in Highport, a weary king rules an ungrateful people. To the west, his brother keeps swords sheathed and words of rebellion at bay. To the north and south, savage elves and cowardly dwarves openly practice arcane arts, shrouded by leaf and stone. In a time when a man's worth is measured by his word, when might makes right, and a quick death is a mercy, only those more foolish than brave venture far from home. The age of peace and prosperity has ended. In its place, only strife.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Age of Strife. How are you guys doing today?
Very good.
Yeah.
I've got my tea, so I'm ready.
Exciting.
I'm not tired for once since it's a late game.
Tyler, something looks different about you. Did you shave a beard? Did you have a beard?
I did, and it is now gone.
That's
along
what I
with
thought.
Half of my hair. So,
I can't tell about the rest of the half, but there was something that looked different about you.
mhm.
Right. Like it. It's a good look. I like the clean-shaven
Thank you.
look myself. I do it more often, but I'm just extraordinarily lazy. Did you guys notice there's an empty box right here? As per usual with this show, we're going to just leave a big empty space when players die to remind all of us that they are gone and no longer with us. So the big black spot will just stay there until someone else comes along, if anyone else ever does. But enough of sad memories. How's your week been, everybody? Anyone do anything interesting, Tyler, aside from shaving?
Not really. It hasn't been that long, I don't think.
It's not like 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, I went to work a lot, and planned a D&D session, which hasn't come up yet, but I'll be getting to that over the weekend, actually.
Anything interesting coming up for your session?
Ooh, well, my players are going to get to meet a famous ancient NPC, so that'll be fun. When I gave one of my players is playing a cleric, and I gave them an ability which is that they can touch a small inanimate object, and it'll briefly come to life, and it'll have its own free will and that sort of thing. And so they touched the journal of this ancient mage and asked the journal where he was. So, that's how that's going.
Interesting.
How long do the things stay animated for?
As long as the cleric can maintain the spell, so it's pretty much at will or until they go to sleep.
Okay.
Yeah. It's neat. He hasn't gone around like touching broomsticks and stuff, which is kind of what I was expecting, but whatever. Interrogating a journal is fun too.
You have to touch it to maintain the animation, or you just have to concentrate?
Well, you have to touch it to start it, but then you can just concentrate.
So you could touch a broom and then just kick back in a chair and sweep with your mind without having to hold the broom.
So the object has free will, so if you can convince the broom to sweep for you, then yes.
How difficult is it to convince a broom to perform its function?
Depends on the broom. Hey, not all brooms are the same, man.
As free will, does it have ambition?
It just depends on whatever I decide to play that object as. So, like most books know what's written inside them, so you can ask them questions about their topic. So that's
Ooh,
neat.
That would be super useful.
Yep.
If you touch something, animate it, go to sleep, come back and animate it the next day, will it have the same personality?
Yes.
Will it remember the things you discussed the previous
Yes.
day? Oh.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. So if you animated your library and made friends with the library, then you could just go back and touch a book and be like, hey, what was that passage about blah, blah, blah? And then the book could just tell it to you.
Yep.
And then you don't need people because you're forever not alone.
Oh, man. That's a really interesting spell.
Yeah,
I
it's
might
cool.
steal that from you.
Yeah, it's cool because you have a lot of control over it as the DM. So if it becomes overpowered, you just make it not be by having all the objects not cooperate. So it's decent.
Interesting. Next, Ginger. Autumn. I always mix up players' names and characters' names. How's your week been?
So last few days, I've had like tiny shifts, like 3 hours long, and I've just been lying at home thinking things through, like D&D things. Like my other player, who I told you about before we started, he just does things that make me question my game and like physics and how magic works, because he's a wizard and I've got a lot of wizards in my party, and I decided to just have a session with him out of the game, just like a 2-hour chat, just to determine all these questions he came up with. What was one of the good ones? I've forgotten the spell effects that were interesting. You know what I mean? Like when
When a player
hardcore heroes, they use that like weird chest spell.
weighty chest, and then can you do it on this? Can you do it on that? Yeah, those sorts of questions are what's so fun about being a DM. Is people, you have to make these really obscure, weird rulings and find a way to make a ruling on the spot that won't screw you or the game over in the long run. I don't know. That sort of brain teasing is why I find this game so much fun to play.
Yep.
How?
So apart from that, I've just been like planning more D&D and hoping that after next week I'll run more.
What about you, Patrick?
Well, this week, not too much has been happening. I've really been getting into Europa Universalis. I'll try it again. Europa Universalis 4. And oh, it's so fun. I had to watch like 8 hours of tutorial videos to actually start playing it. What I'm doing. But now that I know what I'm doing, it's a really good game.
Sounds like a Paradox game.
Yeah. Oh, it's so hard. Like I played I think I've played like 50-something hours so far, 47. And I haven't even done a quarter of a full run yet because I keep losing.
God. This is like a Rome style game, right? Like a Total War style game?
Yeah, kinda. It's like a huge like economic management game, and at the same time it's like a real-time strategy game, and it's so complicated. You play from 1444 to like 1880, I think, in anywhere in the world.
Is each round a year?
No, you go through each day, and you can just like set the speed to where you want it to be.
Oh, okay.
And some things happen monthly, like you get monthly income, and some things happen yearly.
Was that a 400-year span that you play in?
Yeah, and it takes forever. Like, I think
it's 142,000 days.
Yeah, like for people that play like a decent amount, I think it takes like a week to finish a game. Like if you're playing like a decent amount every day.
Damn.
Yeah, it's so complicated. I had to watch those tutorial videos to get into it, and even then I still had to lose like 5 times before I really understood what was happening. It's so difficult.
Well, gamers are nothing if not masochists.
Yeah.
Love the pain, love the suffering.
I'm an Iron Man all the time, and I refuse to take it off.
Well, let's talk about what happened last week in game. It was kind of an eventful week. Last 2 weeks together really were the last session. What went down? Why is Stefan gone?
Well, we were running super low on money, like to where we went another month, we would have been in debt because of the rent and all our expenses. So we decided to go on a trip to Nixon to recover all the money that our father had been telling us about. And we did that. We soon realized that Nixon was not a place to be trifled with. And it felt like we were for weeks, and it was like 2 hours. But it was, there were a bunch of enemies. And last session specifically, there were these, what were they, bear people?
Yeah, they had these weird furry arms with claws on them. Bear-like.
Yeah, well, first there were bear people, and there were the transparent guys that like to drop rocks on you. And we defeated a few of those, and after that, Luther decided, okay, the best way to get out of here is if I take off all my armor and run away. And there's been a lot of talking about that decision. My personal logic was that if I stayed behind with 1 HP that I was on, I'd just go down, and then that'd be 2 bodies to carry instead of 1, because Stefan had already gone down. So I tried getting out of there, which I did, barely. But that left Arthur and Ginger and the unconscious Stefan left behind, trying to get out. They were attacked by dogs with 2 heads. Some transparent guy brought down a bridge. So Arthur fell into the water, or he had to jump.
Wasn't that the bridge?
The only bridge.
Was it the only bridge?
The only bridge is now
That means I can't get across now.
broken section in the middle.
Yeah, well, he fell into the water, avoided getting hit by rocks, and he was on like 2 HP. Then Swim and Ginger rolled a 20 to pull him out of the water. And they made it out. They almost made it to where Luther was in safety, and a giant crab came and onto the water after sitting on Ginger. So Stefan was unfortunately drowned in the river, I guess, or crushed.
Yes, he was. But you guys made it back?
Yep.
You're
after that,
all
we-
alive-ish?
On the outside.
Yeah, kind of.
All right. So let's talk about news from around the kingdom, because you guys are back at home. While you guys are having your downtime and resting, 3 wounded men arrive from the front in the west. One's missing an eye, another is missing a hand, and another is missing the leg below the knee. They all tell stories about the battle in the forest at night, and the sounds of drums in the distance, and how the very grasses and trees moved to the beat of the drum, picked up the soldiers around them, and ripped them limb from limb. They tell stories of orcs the size of giants, swinging axes the size of tables. They tell tales of orcs moving through the forest in complete silence, only punctuated by the everlasting sounds of drum, and coming at the blackguard from all sides. These are only a few of the wounded. Most of them didn't survive, of course, and had to be either left behind or died of their wounds. But these 3 that are no longer fit for combat have finally made it back home to Wadsworth, where they're from.
We can talk to him.
You can talk to them if you would like. They are, well, you're nobles. You could find them without too much trouble. You'd send someone off and go ahead and find them, and since you're nobles, you can call them to an audience with you, and they are more or less obligated to attend.
They're retired soldiers. We'll pay them some respects.
Yeah. In other news, Sarah and Clara have been visiting with the Greendahl family, hoping to learn more about this mysterious servant of theirs. And in their visits, they have come up with some news. Let's see, Clara was visiting with Kosi Greendahl and spotted the servant in question going into a house one evening while Kosi and Clara were coming back from a horseback riding. Kosi was teaching Clara how to ride a horseback more efficiently, more proper. And Clara spotted the servant in question not darting, but going into a house in the village out in Darbaloon. Meanwhile, Sarah, in speaking with Victoria, has learned that the Greendahl family are conserving their resources and not bringing on any more servants. The quote from her is, Victoria said Rugsbind has been loudly complaining to the family about the increase in taxes. And an interest in not spending any more money. Clara pulls Luther aside at some point when she's explaining all of this stuff to you, and emphasizes to you, Luther, how wonderful and nice Kosi's family is. And she implores you not to bring any harm to the Greendahl family, or at least Kosi's Rugsbin's sister's daughter, so Rugsbin's niece. And Clara's like, Kosi's really nice. She's so wonderful. She's teaching me how to ride horseback. She's just about my age. I feel like I'm finally being accepted by one of these other nobles as more than just a commoner and finally starting to make friends. Please don't do anything to harm their family.
Oh dear.
And that is news from around the kingdom and various happenings in your downtime since the last session. You guys are in Wadsworth proper. This is not Wadsworth proper, but I'll bring us there in just a moment. And the ship is yours. Go for it.
Okay. Did we discuss how much downtime we actually had?
I think we had said you guys were going to do like a week and a half of downtime. So...
Yeah, I think 21st, if I remember correctly.
21st, did you say?
I think so, yeah.
That sounds about fair.
Yep. So in that downtime, I would have reacquired a few more spears from Jeffro, our favourite blacksmith, and I'd have to sadly tell him that I lost his previous works of art.
He shakes his head. Well, I guess it's better to lose a shield than to lose your head.
By the way, were you... Did you make that shield all yourself, or was it a combined effort?
No, Ty had talked about making it, just hadn't started on it yet. It was something I had done.
Okay. Well, thanks for your work. I'll head off now. And I guess I'll just quickly do the maths while everyone else stock up my spears again.
So, I think I do have an open weapon proficiency. Right?
Yes. You have you got one weapon and non-weapon at 4th level.
Can I make that a language slot?
The non-weapon or the weapon?
Well, you can make weapons into non-weapon, right?
No, fighters can do that only when they're making their character.
Okay. So I guess I'm gonna have to do some weapon research.
Or I'm sorry, the language slots that you can get are non-weapon slots at the beginning, and fighters can use them for weapons instead.
Language slots into non-weapon slots at the beginning.
Right. But further proficiencies are stuck in their categories.
Okay. Do you ever gain language slots?
So normally, rules as written, you learn a language by spending a non-weapon proficiency on it. I think that's a little broken. I think it's too strong at low levels and too weak at high levels. So I say you can learn languages by practicing them and through role playing. So find someone to teach you a language or hang out with someone who speaks a language a lot, and then we can just say in the downtime you are learning it, and after X period of time you are semi-fluent, and after so forth and so on.
Okay. Well, Luther in the downtime, I guess he's doing some weapon research, and he's also inquiring within the family if they know anyone who knows how to speak Elven.
Okay.
No, nobody There's no one known in Wadsworth or anywhere around there who speaks Elven. The few people that used to speak Elven way back when were sent off for the various wars, and since then no one has been able to learn because there's no elves around to speak with, and whoever else might have known it has either died or vanished in some way or another. It's a lost language to the humans.
I'll also ask. Does anyone in our family know anything about the centaurs besides us?
You don't have let's see. You have an ancient historian, right?
Yeah.
He's already told us what he knows, I believe.
Yeah.
Well, I think asking if they know how to speak Elven. I don't think he
If
would have.
centaurs know how to speak Elven,
Yeah.
let me make
Because they
a
used to
roll.
communicate somehow before.
You know, we could deduce that they have some sort of common language because they used to
Yeah,
talk.
that's what I'm assuming. But they could have lost it too since they had been traded for a while ago.
What's his name? What's your ancient historian's name?
Joseph.
Joseph. Thank you. Joseph has no idea what languages centaurs speak other than common. Just no idea. Anything else you guys want to do in the downtime?
Alright, so Jeffro's able to make new Asper shields. They take a week.
That sounds about right.
Yep. So, Luther, do you need a new shield?
I do.
Okay. So each one of those is 10. My spare shields that I'm topping up to 10 of each short spear, 1 long spear, and 10 more javelins will cost me 20 gold. So in total, that's 40 gold for 2 shields and all the spears.
Yeah, and I'm also going to. I guess I'll talk to everybody else about getting horses.
Okay.
Is there anywhere that we can get horses in town?
Let me take a look at our documents here. So what type of horse do you want to get? Because horses are not just interchangeable. You've got horses that are
I was thinking
bred
just
for riding or horses that are bred for pulling plows.
Yeah.
So
I was thinking
they're
riding horses.
riding horses? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh. We used our donkeys last time to sort of hold the treasure as we gained it.
Yeah.
I think based on the carrying capacity, horses can do a little bit of that as well, you know.
Yeah, and the hope is for me that they can kind of help us move around a bit quicker, since I'll be moving in at least movement speed 9, maybe worse, if we ended up getting new armor, so that would help.
There are no horse breeders in Wadsworth itself. And I don't... there are... Some of the other noble families will have stables where they will breed some horses, but they don't have any rigorous breeding programs. If you would like to buy a horse from one of these other families, they might be willing to sell one to you at probably an inflated price, because horses are a rare commodity right now. Especially riding horses are a little bit harder to come across. I think the price is going to be maybe 20% above listed.
That wouldn't be a problem, I guess, but there are also alternative methods of transportation, I think.
Yeah. And with horses comes a certain level of responsibility, right? You need someone, especially a riding horse, you need someone to be caring for it all the time.
Yeah.
Like that person can be you, but then if you leave, you're going to need to put it in the hands of someone who can take care of it properly.
You could probably make that Arthur's job since he's friends with all the animals. But
Well, that is often a squire's job, to care for the animals of their knight.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, what we could also do is get a carriage. What's a carriage's capability to go off-road?
Not great. It's definitely possible. So think of the carriage would have the same off-roading capabilities as like a wagon right? And people did trek out west across the United States with covered wagons on open ground, but it's just kind of slow going. You would be
Yeah.
going slower than walking speed if you were on open ground. On a road, you'd be going faster than walking speed.
Okay. Horses might be the way to go then. So I'm going to consult Ginger and Arthur about that.
Okay.
Well, with all this newfound money that we have, what do you two think about horses? Arthur, do you know how to take care of them?
Well, I've never had a horse in myself, but I mean, I understand the basics. Give it food, fix its horseshoes every now and then, make sure it doesn't have anything stuck in there. Should be decent. Sometimes you gotta brush them.
I've been considering the horse as well. With our ventures out, it's hard for me to carry a long spear, at least. The other spears, not so much, but a horse does fix things, and it could carry me as well.
Yeah, I was hoping that they would get us around a bit quicker so we're not spending so much time walking around. And I suppose we could also use them to escape bad situations like the one last time. I know we've had donkeys in the past, but maybe horses might be worth it. They're a lot more expensive. But
It's an investment.
Yeah. We'd have to take care of them, make sure that they don't get they don't get hurt when we're say fighting any more of those monsters or something.
Well, I'd still prefer
Yeah.
to fight on foot. So
yeah,
not
I
to put the
don't
horse
think I'd
at
be
risk.
very good at fighting on a horse. Maybe we could. Oh, I assume you can just tie 'em up to trees, and if there's no trees, maybe we carry around a spike or something. We can hammer it into the ground and tie 'em up to that.
Sure.
I don't really know much about horses. That's why I'm asking.
Neither do I.
An animal. Yeah.
Well, Arthur will know all you need to know about caring for horses.
Okay.
A well-trained horse should be pretty easy to care for. And if you're going somewhere, you need to leave them in one spot. You should be able to tie them to a tree or to like a heavy rock. A well-trained horse will, just by the feel of the slack, will know not to pull away. It's one of those things where you don't actually need to tie them to anything strong. Just thinking that they're tied to something prevents them from moving away unless they get spooked. Horses are not super smart creatures.
Well, if you have some horses you want me to look at, I can help pick out good ones. Make sure you don't get a bad horse.
Well, that's a good idea. It's also finding the horses is the problem, mostly. I think the only place to get them is other nobles, which I really don't like the idea of asking them for it.
Oh, well. Do they just have like 3 spare horses lying around? No.
Definitely not free.
Yes. I'm sure if we paid extra, they'd be willing to sell a few. Arthur will have to make sure they're not games. But otherwise, I think they're a decent investment.
Yeah.
Having them is certainly nice.
Well,
Are
if you
there
don't,
still donkeys here in Wadsworth?
I'm sure there are.
Okay, well, if there's no good deal on horse negotiation, donkeys are a stable purchase.
Well, Arthur, I suppose going and looking at those horses would be a good idea.
all right. If you want, we could always try to go south, see if any of those cities have horses available.
I'm sure some of them do. If they're villages, villages have horses, I think.
Okay, so that's where you would probably have to go to get them, is you would talk to one of the families who has stables and has enough horses that are, they would be willing to sell one, and their horses wouldn't be in town, they would be out in one of the villages. That's the place to go. Let's just take a quick look at the ranger abilities, because you got some good stuff when it comes to picking horses, don't you?
Yep.
Let's see. He can easily discern the qualities of the creature, spotting the best horse in the corral, or seeing the runt of the litter actually has great promise. So, if you send Arthur to do it, he'll be able to pick you out. How many horses do you want? 3? 4? 2?
3, I think.
Okay. Sure. So, let's take a look through various channels. Where's my list of noble families? The Thresher family has some horses that they would be willing to sell to you.
Okay.
So should we go? Do you want me to go talk to them? See what kind of horses they've got?
I think that's a good idea. I think I'll come with you. Where's the Thresher village that we'd be going to?
It is Brexton is the village that they've got the horses in. So let's take a look over here. Where is Brexton? Gotta open up all my maps.
Freshers are the ones who went into the forest after the werewolf and the soldiers didn't come back. So be careful about that.
Okay, so Brexton is one of the closer villages to Wadsworth. It is roughly here on the map.
Okay. I was thinking about going to see the centaurs and asking about learning Elven from them, but I realized riding horses to see the centaurs is probably not the best idea.
That would be in. I think their reaction to that would be unpredictable at best.
They did seem a little bit weirded by us having a wagon pulled by donkeys.
Yeah, I think they're kind of annoyed by that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think showing up on horseback would be very good. So they'd be 20% markup?
Yep, so it would be 90 gold for a horse. But why don't we, so Arthur can head down there, start talking to the people, to the Thresher family on your behalf. Take a look at the horses in the corral. And let's see how many horses they have they're willing to let go. So they have one horse that's being brought up and trained that they don't have a particular, I shouldn't say they don't have a use for, but they've got one horse that they're willing to sell at a slight markup, at the 20% markup. They have other horses as well, but most of those are being used to pull wagons or what do you call them, carriages, or used for riding by the Thresher family themselves. They are hesitant to let any more than just one go. You might be able to negotiate with them, but that would be something we'd have to role play.
Do we know if there are more families with extra horses, or is it just the Threshers?
See, the Threshers are the only ones that have a proper breeding and training program. Let's see, who's the next? The Wyatt family has quite a few. They might have some that they're willing to let go, maybe. And of course, they accidentally breed horses, but they're not as good at training them. So you're going to get higher quality horses from the Threshers than the Wyatts.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else, well, no one else really has any real method of horse generation, other than just, oh, looks like our horse has actually produced something. Wow, I thought that was... Times are pretty scarce here.
Okay.
You might
If
be able
there's
to
just
put
one-
in order with the caravan to bring some horses up from the south.
Yeah, we're
If
gonna
there's
have
just
to
one
put
horse
an order
available, then
anyway.
I think buy it, and then I'll buy a donkey for now, if we need one.
Well, there's no point. Well, there's some point, but there's less of a point in having horses if we don't all have them. So we still have to go walking speed.
Okay. And since you are a ranger, you can tell that the one horse that the threshers have, it's still young, still kind of being trained, but it is a high-spirited horse, which means it's got a higher movement rate and a higher carrying capacity.
Okay.
And you can also, by talking to their what's the term? Their stable master, I guess would be the right word. It's apparent that this guy's hasn't been cued in yet to the horse's fine qualities. It's a young guy, young one.
Okay. So since Luther came with me, yeah.
Mhm.
I'll pull him aside and say, now this horse they're willing to sell us, it's a very fine animal. I don't think their stable master quite knows yet. You could probably get a good deal on this one. It'd be a shame if we couldn't get more, but maybe we could look around.
Sounds good to me. I suppose if we have to, we can get some from the caravan, that we don't really know anything about the quality of horses we'd be getting from there. But yeah, this is a good start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, should be a fine animal. Can pull a lot. Should move pretty fast. Even for a horse.
I don't know how you know all that, but I'll trust you.
It's all in how their muscles are made, that sort of thing. Yeah. This little guy, he's going to grow up and be a great horse.
Okay. Okay, so I guess I will... He's just setting the price at 90 gold?
Yep.
Okay, that's fine. So we will buy that horse. Get on back
Okay.
to one, I guess.
Someone shell out the 90 gold, and you guys now have a high-spirited horse. It has a movement rate of 32 because it's high-spirited, and it has a 25% higher carrying capacity across the board.
Well, Patrick, I've already done the the goals from earlier, and you can mark down your new shield.
Okay.
Excellent.
I
Cool.
think another thing I would do is I'd ask everybody else if they want one. Luther's going to order a tabard that is
Ooh.
black with just the red flower, the red rose of our sigil.
Yeah.
Makes sense. If y'all have one, I should get one too.
Okay, what colors do you want? I know our sigil's really brown in the background, but I like black a bit more.
I would go for black, but have the rose have a silver lining.
Fair enough. Is there a cost for a tabard?
Yeah, you're
Clothing
getting...
cost.
Well, yeah, but I meant like an official one on the. It doesn't look like it.
We don't really... Tabard, common, 6 silver. Tabard embroidered, 8 gold.
Okay.
So is this an embroidered thing you want? You want the sigil on it?
Yeah, each of ours will be finely embroidered.
feel like that embroidered cost is a little high. Well, if you want
might be.
finely embroidered, that's fine. Yeah, 8 gold for a finely embroidered thing. If you want some minor embroidery, it could be probably a little bit less.
Okay.
But that will... Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
These numbers look right.
What
How
else?
much was it for the common ones?
6 silver.
Lord.
Yeah.
What do you think about getting all of your militia common ones? Just a plain halberd.
That wouldn't be a bad idea. Do you remember if we already had? Did we have roses painted on their leather armor?
I don't think so.
Okay. Then I think getting a common one for the militia would be a good idea. So that's 6 gold for 10 of them.
Yep. And if you want a sigil of your family, it doesn't have to be embroidered. Like, they could cut out another scrap of fabric and just sew it to that, which
Yeah.
would be a slightly more expensive. So let's just call it 7 silver each.
Okay.
So 7 gold. And then they'll have tabards with your family crest on the front and back in basic colors, or in basic stitching, not finely embroidered.
I think the tabard should be that quadrant pattern where you got brown and red.
Okay.
And I guess we can discuss who's getting this horse. I'll just say that. Well, Arthur, you seem to know the most about horses, so I think if you'd like this one should be for you.
That sounds okay.
All right. I mean, I'll take it. But well, I mean, you're the knight here, aren't you?
I wouldn't say I'm much of a knight, really. You're the best with animals. I think you should have it.
Well, all right. Thank you.
Is there a specific color for the horse that's predetermined, or?
You can pick the color of the horse if you want. I don't.
I won't pick it.
And it's young. It probably doesn't have a name yet.
Yeah.
You could rename it. They say its name is Blackberry is the horse's name, her name, and she's got a light red, a rust red fur coat.
Ooh, that's the exact color I wanted.
Perfect.
Right.
You of course are free to rename her if you please. Not like horses respond all that well to their names. Maybe they do. That's a question I need to ask.
So another thing I've been thinking about. How do riding horses? Oh, he's gone. No, he's
I'm
there.
here. I'm here.
Okay. How do riding, will they just not go into combat? Or will
No,
just
they will be ridden into combat. If they're not trained for combat, they might get a little spooked by it, especially if they get hit. If they get hit, you're kind of in trouble on an untrained riding horse. A war horse, on the other hand, will wade into combat with no problems, and if they get hit, they might kick back or something, but they're trained to just deal with it. This guy would be just a riding horse. With proper training, you have a ranger in hand, so that could be done. You could train it to be a light war horse, or a war
Fancy.
horse.
That'd be nice. So if I took a lance proficiency, hypothetically, could I use that without the horseback riding proficiency?
Yes, so anyone can ride a horse with minimal training.
Yeah.
A horseback riding proficiency allows you to kind of lean over the side of the saddle, to use the horse's cover, to leap onto a moving horse, to call it with a whistle, to do anything really cool with your horse. You need a horseback riding proficiency, but you can use a basic horse and a lance if you have a lance proficiency.
Okay. I might take a lance proficiency then, because I don't see anything else that's that.
So, is there any downside to making attacks from horseback?
+1 to hit.
Oh, so it's brilliant.
Oh yeah, fighting from horseback is a strong thing. The only problem from fighting with horseback might be that you get turned around, or you might get stuck in a direction. If you're in like a narrow area and you're with the horse, horse might have trouble turning around. If there's a lot of people around you, you might not be able to move out of the combat very well, or you can move out quite well if the horse just charges through people. Let's see, any other problems from horseback? If it's, a horse that's not ready for war and it gets hit, you might accidentally just be taking off down the road on your horse unintentionally. That's about it.
Okay. And would Arthur with a longbow be able to use that on a horse?
Longbows cannot be used from horseback. Only short bows can.
Okay.
The longbows are just too damn big.
So is there anyone? I guess first I'd ask Kel Reginald if he knows how to use a lance and if he could teach me.
He does, and he can, and he will.
So I was considering picking up the arming sword as a proficiency.
Mm-hmm.
I want to discuss that with Woofer and Arthur while I'm here. As last battle, I lost my weapons, and I realized that a sword can be held on the belt, and it's much easier to carry around as a backup weapon.
I certainly wouldn't be against you learning how to use one. I should hope that there's not going to be more situations where you're losing your weapons again. But in case it does happen, I suppose it would be useful.
I'm not saying that the sword is a better weapon. Just saying it's handier.
Yeah.
Well, I can always
time training with Kel Reginald and Lord William Thorne, because they're the arming sword guys, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Yeah,
put my
and I
point
guess-
in there.
Can someone with a proficiency teach you how to use a weapon?
Probably, yeah.
Oh, Luther can teach you too.
I've got a spare point anyway, so it's going in there.
Okay.
Arming sword. Do we have a spare one of those, or do we have to order one in?
We'll have to order one, I think.
Okay.
Did Ty have an arming sword?
Yes.
Then I guess we still have one.
It'll be on our notes here somewhere. Yeah, we do have a spare one. It's Ty's arming sword.
Then we do have one.
So yeah, because I can swing an arming sword now with proficiency with my, base FACO +3.
Lovely.
It's good. It's a worthwhile sword weapon to use.
Where is the section on horses in combat? I'm not seeing the rules for what we do with horses when they get hit in combat. I could have sworn there was something in here about that. Like the difference between a light warhorse and a heavy warhorse and that sort of thing.
I don't think you've ever encountered it. Monkeys, of course, when they're hit, they just panic and run.
Yeah. Let's see, a warhorse or any animal trained for combat is considerable investment. Talking about barding. That's not what we're looking for. Metals, gear. What the hell? There really no section that discusses war horses? It's in the monstrous manual? Okay. So you have bought the equipment that you need. Is there anything else you guys need to take care of before in this downtime?
I think we're gonna have to be waiting for the caravan for armor, right?
Yeah, the caravan comes on the 21st, is it?
I think
I
it's
have it in my notes.
12.
By
It's
the
the
end of
12th
this
of February. Yeah.
Yeah, 12.
Okay. we also need to roll hit points for the horse now that we've obtained it. You're
That's right.
definitely you're keeping the same name, Blackberry. It's a decent name. Okay.
Blackberry is a solid name. Yeah, 3d8 HP.
All right. Come on. More than 3 hit points, please.
Ooh, that's
Decent.
actually quite nice.
Respectable.
Pretty good. It's a good thing it was, because Arthur might have been like, you know what, this horse actually wasn't that good after all. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know why I said that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess I don't know how much adventuring we really want to do without. Well, I guess I already hit Luther has armor.
Until our militia have armor, I probably wouldn't take them out, but I'd like to, give them some actual combat training.
Yeah, they have
against.
equipment already, I think.
Oh, okay. Well then,
But I think Reginald said it would be like another month before they were ready to do anything, or do it well at least. I'm sure.
I don't remember that, but I'm willing to let them come out with us for some sort of patrol. Help show them what a goblin looks like, and engage with a few of them, but not a dangerous amount. Whatever.
How do you find a non-dangerous amount of goblins on purpose?
Well, if we're in a big group of that many, it's going to be very impossible because any small amount of goblins will instantly retreat from us.
That's true.
Yeah, so that's not really that easy now that I think about it.
Yeah, we might just end up waiting for the caravan to come.
You guys just want to... We can pass weeks if you want. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
You guys have a lot of money, right? You can just pass a couple of weeks. You can go to
we're-
your next month and have all your expenses covered.
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't we go ahead and skip through time? We want to skip all the way to when the caravan returns. That is 1, 2, 3.5 weeks. So go ahead and chip out for your monthly expenses. That covers the family, the 3 of you, your animals, your troops, your payment for what's his name, Reginald.
What were Stefan's expenses?
1/3 of what you guys were paying. God.
Each player was a set number, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was.
I think it was 35.
Let me take a look at our start conditions document here.
Yeah.
Let's see. Each player's house. Let's see. Every skilled member costs 35, while unskilled are 5. Your expenses were 100 GP a month because there were 4 of you, so it was 25 a month for each of you guys. Plus 35 for your skilled people, 5 for your unskilled. And now you also have some monthly expenses for Kel Reginald.
Yeah, and troops.
Right.
I should probably recalculate all the expenses again at some point because I have no idea how accurate this number is. But
Yeah, that might be a good idea. How much did we say that you guys were paying Reginald?
I think it was sheriff money.
That sounds right. So
I
town
feel
sheriff
like
is
2 gold a day or somewhere around that number.
right. Village sheriff is 1 gold a day. Town sheriff is 3 gold a day. Did we do a town sheriff at 3 gold a day?
I
1870.
don't remember. I think that's right.
It sounds right, but then I don't know. What does that end up as a month?
Let's see. Monthly expenses for a town sheriff is 72 a month because you don't. Wait a little bit.
I don't remember it being that high, but maybe it
Yeah, it couldn't have been that high.
I think you might. I think you might have argued for 2 gold a day, a middle of the road price, because he is a one-handed knight.
Yeah, and of course,
It's actually very useful for fighting at this point.
He's
Yeah.
got
Probably
a
is.
sort of retired job position of guarding a house and looking after people.
Right, so he's paid 48 gold a month.
Okay, that sounds right.
Okay, so we need like an expenses section. Oh, there is one here. So it should be PC. Let's see. Thorn PCs. You pay 25 per person, which comes out to 50 gold right now. Thorn NPCs. You have what? 3 skilled family members. Yeah, and
Yeah.
4 or 5 unskilled.
I think it's 4. Probably.
1, 2, 3, 4. Marcus does Mark? He's a 3-year-old. I don't think he counts. So 4 unskilled and 3 skilled.
We're just not feeding Marcus the food for you.
So 105 for your skilled, unskilled. Thorn C's are 5 per person. Is that it?
I think so.
Yeah, 5 per person. So that's 20. Then you've got Reginald.
And we've got our militia. Did we discuss what we're paying our militia?
I think
Yeah.
it was 2.4 gold a month.
Ooh,
Light militia is 2.4 per person.
Yeah.
and there's 10 of them.
So, and then you've got some horse. Well, then we'll just roll the horse maintenance into your family maintenance unless you get too many damn horses. So 50, 105, 20, 48, and 24. I'm coming up with 247 gold a month.
So I guess we were pretty accurate then.
Yeah, because that 274...
With Stefan that was with Stefan.
Right,
So,
and so that's actually only off by 2, so maybe we were saying 1 gold a month for your donkeys as well.
I think that's right, yeah.
Yeah, so then your price is actually quite perfect.
Yeah.
Yep. Horses are a lot more expensive.
Yeah,
Horses
we're
are-
going to say a horse is 5 GP a month.
Okay.
So... I lost my numbers already. So you owe 252 gold for this first month, for the end of January. So subtract it from your total value. God, you guys have a lot of money, don't you?
Yeah.
You guys have
Yeah.
3,000 gold. You are flush.
got
You can do all sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what happens in that month then before we hop over to the rest of it. There were a lot of things going on. The caravan comes back. The plans for the wall are done. The plans for the ballista are finished. You guys have discussed a source of stone from Nixon, which can be brought up. No one has started bringing the stone up yet. And there's still plenty of stone around Wadsworth to be built. Now, there's also that 10% additional taxes that you guys are need to pay on all your income. Do you report
On
your
our
income to
income.
the Countess?
We haven't done that yet.
Everybody thinks we didn't get any money. And we're losing
Alright.
money.
We need to sort of say that we have some sort of income, otherwise we look really shady.
Right.
Well, also,
We must-
we're the ones building the wall, so we weren't sure if we were going to have to pay the tax anyway.
Oh, yeah, everyone's paying the tax.
Even
Yeah.
though we're providing the expertise to build the wall.
Yeah, I mean, you're providing the expertise, but everyone's doing something. Everyone's pitching in. Everyone's pitching in with skills and knowledge and money.
I'll take your word for it.
Well,
Okay, it's break time, by the way.
yeah. Anything else we wanted to get to? None of this stuff. I'll build militia.
How much would it cost to build a stable? at the estate.
You don't have the room on your land to build a proper stable. It would kind of just take up the rest of it would take up all the room around your house. So you could build one in a village somewhere, or you could build it outside of the walls of town.
Does
Either
Wadsworth have any other stables?
There is a stable near at the inn you might be able to stable your horse with. It's not a
Is it
lot of
near,
room.
like, behind the house or anything.
Yeah. What? What?
I was just wondering if there was like any room for stable behind the house, or
I mean, technically there's enough room to put a horse there, but horses kind of need a lot of room to walk around. They need to have a corral to move about in, otherwise they'll just get lazy and atrophy. So you could build some sort of shelter to keep your horse at your house, but you would need to take it out of the wall every day. And then you need to have someone cover them and like shovel the shit away, otherwise your backyard's just gonna be covered in horse shit.
okay.
And then your estate will just kind of smell like a pasture.
Yeah.
People might complain.
Might
Can
not.
be done. So why don't we take our break, and when we come back from break, we will see what the caravan brings with them if they make it back. So
They better.
see you guys on the other side of our break. Bye-bye.